Welcome to this week's edition of The Passion of the Digital Artist. And here he is, that passionate digital artist himself, Jeff Mueller.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. It's been a couple weeks since we did this, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been 2 or 3. It's time flies when you're having fun.
Woo!
So how was your trip?
My trip to Utah?
Correct.
Yes, my trip to Utah was amazing. We went out there for essential oils convention, which then led into going to visit my uncle who lives in St. George, Utah, and just the scenery and the amount of imagery that I was able to capture was just phenomenal. So
Utah is nothing but eye candy. I'm sure going to St. George was really tough to take.
yeah, and then they took us into Zion. I think I got over 1,000. I think I grabbed over 1,000 pictures when I was there.
Wow.
And probably about 2.5 hours worth of video.
I believe it.
With the GoPro. So I'm getting the GoPro now. The last thing with the GoPro I'm going to need to do is I want to do the stop action, and the stop action is going to be me doing my next painting. So my next painting is getting put onto the easel. But then it's some exciting news.
And that exciting news is?
Well, I am going through the process of a commission. So after all this hard work and whatnot, there's an actual image that I may be being commissioned to paint. We've gone through the whole process. The designer likes what I'm doing. My representative likes the thought of me. I've shown them some images, my thoughts and they're really kind of excited. Now it's just the client has to bite, and if the client bites, I'm going to be painting back into the professional part of painting, but in the fine art aspect opposed to advertising. It's kind of exciting. I've been waiting, like anything else. I'm used to this, quoting a job, in commercial art. So you would do the waiting, and if the job came through, you can only do what you can do. And well, it's the same thing with this process. Everything was laid down on the table. Now we're waiting, and if the job comes through, it comes through. But it's nice to be in that arena again. Then you went out to Nevada.
Vegas, yeah.
Las Vegas, same place we were.
The wife and I kind of like Vegas. That was our 10th trip together there in 30 years of marriage. So we have a good time, even though, I think of Vegas as my IRA account, and I keep contributing. And when God decides it's time for me to retire, I'll hit. And then I had an awesome trip down to Southern Ohio to see my buddy Joe, and we camped out on his parents' mountain overlooking Seneca Lake, and I got some great shots of the eclipse and the blood moon. So that was exciting. Then you had an exciting trip this afternoon.
Yes, we went up to Cleveland, and just for anybody who doesn't follow football, all my overseas friends, the Browns, the Cleveland Browns have been a horrible team for a good part of the last 10 years. And they, this year, have shown some life sparked back into them of maybe returning to being a good quality team.
They're playing the same sport as the rest of the teams now. They're doing really well.
Right, and the two rivals in this area are Pittsburgh and Cleveland. But it hasn't been much of a rivalry to Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh has basically had their way every single year through their championship run. And today, the first game of the year, Pittsburgh beat them by a field goal on the last second. And today, Cleveland, for the first time since I've been in this area, took it to the Pittsburgh Steelers and just spanked them.
Yeah,
and I got to witness it firsthand, and it was great to see the First Energy Stadium rocking. It was just every time you looked up, just people were just jumping up and down in pure ecstasy, driving home the radio. Everybody's so happy. It just was a great day. And then to take it one step further, I thought the Green Bay Packers, which it's a tough thing because I love the Packers. They're my team at heart, but the local team, that's my other team in being in the AF and the NFC and AFC, and you can root for one team in each and hope they play in the Super Bowl. Then I'd pick the Packers, but at the same time, the Packers were losing throughout. They were winning and then losing and whatever, and it just looked like they were going to lose, and they pulled one out, a miracle win, Aaron Rodgers, and so today was a pretty exciting day. It
was a double bonus.
Yes.
Yeah, and I want to add that the Cleveland Browns decisively beat Pittsburgh. I mean, Pittsburgh actually scored the first 3 points of the game, and then there was a late touchdown they scored, but in between those times it was all Cleveland. They beat them by what, 3 touchdowns, I think.
31-10.
Yeah,
yes, 3 touchdowns. But it wasn't even close. I mean, Pittsburgh. It was as if Pittsburgh didn't show up.
If it was a title fight, they'd have stopped it.
Yeah, well, Cleveland was just razor sharp the whole day. They just everything they did. So, but with that said,
what do you got for us today?
We got art. The first thing I wanted to show everybody is this is a computer art piece, opposed to a digital art piece. This piece I had created. It's 16 by 24 piece of artwork. And this was created by starting with one image, multiplying it, then once coming up with the multiplied image, then color correcting it and repeating that image 4 times, and then running it through a computer program that takes an algorithm of the imagery, and this is what I came up with. And working on this piece, when I was doing it, I was doing this for Ingenuity Fest, which eventually was canceled, but I really was impressed with what you can do with the computer to create abstract art, and it's really quite a nice piece. This particular piece is $175. Anybody who's interested, it's a metal piece, and if they buy it, I will sign it. So
that's pretty awesome.
Anybody who wants to buy it, I'll sign it. Normally, they're normally my 16 by 24 on the websites are normally $200, but lately I've been running them on a special for $175. And one of the key things I guess I wanted to talk about with digital art. A digital artist creates his artwork in the computer, and now computer art is similar to what I just showed you, where you actually utilize computer functions to create artwork. It's not something you'd be able to do by just painting it. That was actually that actual technique that I used. I would have never thought of painting that. Now I could paint that outside now and use that as a reference, but that is actually computer art. Where digital art is more photography, and if you can paint, it's something that you're using traditional means and you doing them in the computer to create the artwork. So that would be more digital, where computer artwork is more using the actual computer functions to create a piece of artwork. So those are the differences between people always ask me, well, what's the difference between computer art and digital art? And that's the main difference right there. Then, but when you're a digital artist, one of the things that enters in that acrylic artist or oil painter doesn't as much is the oil painting. If you purchase this canvas or stretch your own canvas, you can get away with between $25 and $50 of material. And of the $25 or $50 of material to create your piece of artwork. Now, if you're doing it smaller, it can even be cheaper, like $10, $15 worth of material. But the digital artist needs to produce the artwork, which can be expensive, or he can use other means to make it a little bit cheaper. But usually, like in this particular piece, you're looking at a 16 by 24 will run you out of your pocket, plus the time and whatever that you're doing that's not counted, but you're looking at $94 plus shipping, which is probably about another $11, $12. So you're looking at about $110 just to produce the 16 by 24 piece of artwork. So digital people, their initial costs are a little bit more. So selling a piece of artwork as a digital artist in this case for $100 $175 and I'm signing it, and then right now it's the only piece that exists, and I'll probably only produce 10 of them signed, that I'm making basically on a 65, I'm making $65 because I got to ship it and I've already paid, plus I'm going to have to ship it to the person who buys it. So overall, sometimes it'll look like a digital artist is expensive, but it's really not, because there's certain processes that like printing on canvas. Printing on canvas can cost me anywhere between $75 and $450. Just depends
Wow.
on the size. So if I'm asking $750 for a large print, my time and efforts is put into that, but it's usually you're walking the edge of how much you can charge, because you do have so much expenses. So with that said, I guess the last thing I did Tall Walls this last week, and I showed Market Zero. I had me and my wife went up on that Friday and had some good response to the painting. I was hoping, I priced it to sell it, and it's priced on the website for $550. So that's one of my pieces right now that's pretty reasonable for an original piece of art, signed, a signed original piece of artwork from me, one of a kind, for $550 on Computer Art Market. So check that stuff out. That's where we're at right now, and I think that covers pretty much it for this week. Would you say?
Other than Tuesday night, Pittsburgh, Karen and I, Fleetwood Mac, with
Excellent.
Christine McVie back with the band, so I'm looking forward to that. So have a good week, folks.